against all odds. But yeah, it is going to be Budapest 5 starting on the CT side. So they are going to go for the normal choice.
It does make sense. Now, you can get rocked rather early on with that CT economy. You need to try and end the first 5 or so rounds on a streak if you can. And by that, I mean, if you lose the pistol rounds, you really don't want to be forcing up in those situations. You want to wait until you have the full buy together and use the guns with the full utility available, because in those first 5 rounds, if you buy up as a CT and then just get wrecked by the T side with the full guns available, it's really feasible that it can just be a 5-0 start from the T side before your bank even gets going. And even as the CT round in the first 5 or so on Mirage, you can end up winning rounds and still have a much weaker buy than the T side. So control over the money game is going to be vitally important for the Budapest 5 at the beginning of Mirage here. And APEKS, if they want to win this series, this opening best of 1 and secure the advantage for them going through this evening, they're going to want to come out swinging and keep those CTs suppressed.
Yeah, it's as you said, you need to keep that economy low. That's why you see almost every round the T's just keep buying, keep getting the AKs, Galils, whatever, just so that they can at least get some frags. Even if you don't win the round necessarily, if you just manage to drop as many M4s and ops and etc. as possible, their utility, you just keep them honest, and eventually you'll win a round. And then their economy, because they've been knocked down the entire time, has been completely broken. The most crucial part for Budapest 5 is, if you're up against an actual eco, for instance, Deagles, you need to stay careful. You need to make sure that you actually make a bank, because otherwise, all it takes is lose one round and then it's all over.
I think it's sort of a broader concept. Dealing with those Deagle rounds perhaps is an area of the game teams should be putting a lot more effort into in the current meta. You're virtually always seeing these force buys with either Deagles or Tech 9 in hand. In every map of Counter-Strike you see at the moment, and too often you see full buys either just peek out against the Deagles one at a time or inaccurately predict the pistol stack and then just walk in and get torn down by body tags. So I think whichever sides figure out how to deal with those Deagle rounds are going to have a much bigger advantage heading forward in the current meta. And as we get the odds from our betting partners over at LootBet, they are just about giving APEKS the favorites here, ever so narrowly on the map of Mirage. And I suppose I'd slightly agree with that.
I'd make it a little bit more even, and with the Budapest 5 starting on the CT side, I definitely would see a nice value bet in Budapest 5. It's not like they're completely out of it on APEKS at all. They are going to go for the slow dry peek in towards A. That is a very risky strat, but it seems to pay off so far. No one is peeking them yet. The one flash comes out. Corey is completely blinded. Truth already peeks in. Luckily, Corey does tag one back, but that is going to be the bomb site gifted away. Luckily enough, there is no smoke available on the T's. Nice clean headshot from Dorsey. And they can't plant the bomb. Dorsey, but Dito chimes in as well, and they just absolutely annihilate them. That's the problem with not having a single smoke. You can't get a safe bomb plant, and they just got stuck on site.
APEKS unable to read the correct positioning of the Budapest 5 CTs there. They could not predict that they'd stacked that CT angle and were just able to rain terror with that damage. Arquez with the bomb on his back. He was the player up close, and by the time he'd committed to the plant, Budapest 5 had just eviscerated his protecting players who'd been unable to find cover with that really fast pistol play. Now, they have the weaponry advantage heading into the second round, and APEKS, they're taking the eco here, stacking up towards top mid and holding for some CT aggression, as for now, they know they'd get chewed up at range.
Yeah, maybe a little time to discuss as well what kind of strat they're going to go for next round, what nades everyone's going to be buying, and rifles. But yeah, this is pretty much just a full eco, run boost, see if they can get anything done. It's always nice for fun. Ooh, headshot onto Dorsey though. That does knock him pretty low.
certainly does, but he's able to reply at least with an opening kill. They're continuing to aggress into him, and Fliav is able to find one kill, but now his teammate in window has been removed by the Glock, and there should be a weapon recoverable. Marcelius on 6 HP is just going to try and drop that rifle to his teammate. Dennis is able to recover that, but they are aggressing to try and wrestle it back. Budito jumps out the window and is punished for it, but that MP9 is much more accurate in midair, and that leaves Gruss alone in the 1-on-3.
But the fact that they've dropped 2 guns, possibly 3 guns against 2, I think it was 2 P250s and Glocks without any utility whatsoever. So that is a very costly round for Budapest 5, and it's, yeah, look, they don't actually have money for full rifle buys anyway, and that means APEKS are going to start off with the first gun round with a weapons advantage.
That is excellent work from APEKS in the hard eco, especially, as you mentioned, with the limited weaponry that they had available. They've made it so costly for the CTs now that if APEKS can win this gun round, they're going to start streaking momentum together. They'll have broken the Budapest 5 economy, and they won't be up against the full rifles, so there is a clear opportunity now for this T side to come straight back into the match. Now, they're going to play slightly more passively here, as it looks like they've done a great job at baiting out the early double Molotovs from the Budapest 5. They make the sound cues, and look at all this utility that the CTs are dumping into the B apartment so early in the round. That is great news for APEKS if they choose to attack this B bomb site, because they're going to be so dry on grenades. They'll back out, but already they've drained the CT utility.
I'm actually surprised that no one is watching mid at all. I mean, there's one player, Corey is sometimes speaking towards Connect if anyone's going to cross, but jungle could have been easily accessed, for instance. They triple stack B, so they are definitely expecting a B push, but it is well, positioning of APEKS doesn't really tell us what they're going to plan to do. They're going to go through mid, guess mid towards A split, or is it going to be a possible mid okay, maybe a B split?
Yeah, that looks like the call at the moment. They've got the bomb stacking up in the back of these apartments, and they're just going to have Dennis try and bait on this A bomb site, draw a rotation over if possible, and that might just work. Torji is definitely worried about jungle, but as Gruss finds Budito, he knows he has to refocus his efforts. Fliav and Torji open up with kills, but Marcelius has found another, and he's only on 7 HP. Torji will now take him down, leaving just 2 AKs alive, but they've yet to plant the bomb. Now the AWP has been removed, and it's left to the 2 M4s to retake the B bomb site. Truth falls immediately, and the Captain Arquez left alone finds the first headshot, and the second is not able to be converted. Corey, the last left alive, holds on to things for the Budapest 5 and keeps their economic dreams alive.
It was a nice round, but Budapest 5 clutch it out. However, because of the bomb plant and how little players of Budapest 5 are alive, I would assume there's going to be a possible force buy on APEKS' side. Maybe, yeah, they're going to go full force buy, a couple of smokes. They might just go for a quick rush on towards A because they lack the utility to go for a well-executed strat.
They still do have that chance that was present in the last round to damage that Budapest 5 economy, but this time they have to make it work with much less utility. They have got a few smokes, but only 2 flashbangs and no Molotovs whatsoever. It's going to make it very difficult for them to force these Budapest 5 players out of their defensive positions. Now, it does look as though APEKS are favoring a rather passive default on the T side. They like aggressive control, or at least deep control of these B apartments to try and peek around for an aggressive player, but really towards mid, they haven't shown any contact just yet, as they're waiting for the Budapest 5 players to do the most of the work. I would expect that to change throughout this first half as they vary their strategies to try and confuse their opponents.
Well, Fleeve does start off the round with a nice kill on to Dennis, who peeked towards ramp, so that gives him a little bit info that there's at least one. But last round, Dennis was also, if I'm not mistaken, the flanker, so it could be just exactly that. There is going to be the smoke execute. Fleeve is going to be playing close on site, and who's going to be peeking into who? The op. No one smoked off CT, so Torzi has a free shooting gallery.
Looking for more shots at the moment. He won't convert the second one, but that really doesn't matter because Corey and Fleeve are doing the rest of the work in this site. In fact, Truth, the lone Norwegian rifler, left to try and recover this round against the entirety of the Budapest 5. Fleeve trying to bait out some shots there even, but it looks like saving the AK might just be the best call here. There's very little opportunity in the round for Truth, and that'll be the fourth on the board for the Budapest 5, and they do it with all players surviving.
Yeah, that's the bank that we're talking about, and don't think Truth will be able to get very much. Maybe drop one rifle, and that's not even going to work because they were double peeking his angle, and that's going to be round number 4 for Budapest 5. APEKS, this round they will have to buy a couple of deagles, but that's, you know, a little bit of armor, maybe some utility, but no real full buy. And just save up for the next round. Marcelius even keeping extra in the bank so that he can pick up that op to duel up against Dorsey, who is 7-0-2, starting off amazingly on that CT side.
He might have to do more work in this round, although it could be on his teammates in the early stages as APEKS are looking for a contact play towards B. The Molotov not quite landing in a position to deal too much damage, but it has been able to delay the attack. Second Molotov deployed now leaves Grosses in a very isolated position, but the smokes are going to allow APEKS out onto this B bomb site. But Ito finds an opening kill, however, and they walk into the meat grinder. Budapest 5 having none of it. The Pistols getting nothing done on this B site whatsoever, but Ito might be the only one to fall as Truth. He's taken down by Fleeve. There was no chance whatsoever for APEKS in that round.
Yeah, I think Budapest 5 have noticed in previous games probably that APEKS does like going towards B. So they've been stacking the B site at the start of the round pretty quickly. The moment that some kind of utility flies over, they immediately rotate towards you in that direction with the op. So yeah, that is some nice intel that they have on APEKS. I mean, APEKS do play a very big default heavy game.
They certainly have been throughout this T side, and it's actually worked out. We've finally seen the mid presence come through from APEKS, and it's gone into the 3-on-3 trade. It's at least enough to buy them space at the start of the round, but this kill from Truth could allow them away into the A-bomb site.
You still have Coolio in the CT, and the cross being held by Torzy. Oh, beautiful. Last man standing in mid. Has to be careful in connector. Luckily enough, Torzy already rotated away, but there's still Coolio, shuts him down, and Budapest 5, they're continuing their streak. APEKS, this is looking very problematic.
It really is. They have struggled at the beginning of their T side to make anything work. The one round they change up their strategy and go for that mid commitment. The Budapest 5 are firmly ready for it, and they put the stop to it immediately yet again. APEKS now have to drop down onto just the Pistols with limited utility to try and make this round work, and they want the contact A play. This time it's actually the lesser defended bomb site, but that utility is going to keep them from advancing, and this mid presence from the Budapest 5 should suggest an A execution is on the way.
Let's see if this time the A execute does come out successfully. That Molly is just off the mark, so he's going to be completely fine. Even sprays down AKES, smokes himself off so he can disengage and group up with Torzy inside CT. Goes for the flick, does whiff it, unfortunately, but there's a jump up. Gross gets a double, picks up an op, drops it back, grabs the rifle in CT, and now Budapest 5 have to go for the retake or save call, but it seems like just going to go for the retake. Know that there's at least one in CT. Nice shot from Dennis. They're going to peek out wide at this point. You might as well just save that AK plus kit and full armor. Yeah, just disengage. You lose a round, but you still have enough money for at least 2 full buys.
That should be the case from the Budapest 5 side. Torzy has a fair bit of cash built up in his bank to drop forward should he want to as well, and it's really only Fleeve and Corey who need to take advantage of that at this point. Coolio can drop a weapon as well should they need it, so the economy hasn't quite been killed yet from the Budapest 5 side, but that was great work from APEKS, and now we have an opportunity to talk about our case partners over at Hellcase, with the biggest and most well-known case opening website with almost 100 cases updated case battle, upgraded, dozens of monthly giveaways, and loads more unique features. Finally, now we're going to see Marselius use this T-side AWP for what feels like the first time in this map after recovering it from the Budapest 5 buy.
Yeah, it's going to be an AWP versus AWP matchup. And is this actually the first time Marselius has touched an AWP? Or did he die earlier very quickly?
Because it feels as though the first time he's had an AWP in his hand. That it might. I know he recovered it in that last round from the Budapest 5 players, but even if he had one available previously in this map, he's not been in a position where he can use it.
I think he actually saved money for it, but went for the full utility buy instead. Nice push from Corey. Catches out Truth, falls back, gives a little bit of intel. There's no one left on ramp. And yeah, they're just going to fall back, man advantage. B does need a little bit of help probably soon because there are 2 in apps and mid is under control of APEKS. This is going to be a B execute. They do have a decent amount of mollies. 1 smoke left on the APEKS side to try and defend this. Oh, that's a sneaky boost.
Did they just get vision on that? That's the only thing I'd be worried about. They may have just seen it, but Torji opening up kills, he may just be suggesting otherwise. They might not need any more defenders on the B-bomb site. The sniper is doing all of the work. Eventually, Benito opens up. Marselius will get 1 kill with his AWP, but it's not enough to recover the round. APEKS 7-1 down now in their opening map of the day, and the Hungarian side really are not slowing down.
Yep, but Budapest 5, they do keep a bunch of people alive. Luckily enough, APEKS did have their own little bank because they won that Eco Force round, the previous round. So this is still going to be a pretty good buy. Nice catch on to Fleeve, the good boost towards ramp, and that elevates him high enough so that he can get free sight over that molly.
It feels as though APEKS have the man advantage for the first time in this map. They've really been struggling, and even if they have found an opening kill, it's been replied ever so quickly by the Budapest 5. This time, though, APEKS may have just found the answer to that Budapest 5 aggression. Marselius on the AWP, watching the flank and punishing the pushes. Now, it's a 3-man setup. All that's remaining for the Budapest 5, and Coolio has to do all of the work. If he gets found without at least 2 kills, that's the round won by APEKS.
Oh, unfortunately, Dennis saw something of a glimpse the moment he jumped past, and while jumping turned around, they're going to have to save their weaponry. If they could find that op towards mid from Torzi, that would be a great save. But as you can see, Marselius, he spotted him, didn't go for the flick shot. Yeah, they're just going to have to let that op slide for now. Torzi does have a decent amount of money in the bank, though, so he could go for some armor and the op. I definitely would suggest him to get it because, I mean, he's 12-0-4. He's been popping off this entire half.
He certainly has, and especially on that B bomb site, the APEKS really do favor on the attack. He's just been so useful when he's available and defending that bomb site. You can really feel his presence missing when he just isn't part of the defensive crew there. Now APEKS putting their second on the board. The buy will come through from the Budapest 5. You have to expect rifles going to be dropped, and they actually call the first time out of the map so far. They might as well, because they're in, whilst they have the 5-round lead, potentially a little bit of a precarious position at the moment. APEKS, they can build a lot of money together with a round win here, and at such a late stage in the first half, it could mean that they take control of the momentum for the remainder of their T side and really recover what was otherwise a disastrous opener.
Yeah, this is a do or die. If they lose this round, they're going to be on eco buys for a while, and that is going to put APEKS right next to them in no time. So they have to make sure that their plan of defense is going to be good. I mean, yes, I do like the aggression in mid, but last round towards he started to try and make a play on his own without any backup whatsoever, and that was because they were 1 man down. So he knew he needed to make a play, and they just waited on APEKS for that mistake to come through.
Oh, Oh, Torji narrowly misses out on that one, only dealing minor damage to Dennis, but the tactical reading from the Budapest 5 has been great. Unfortunately, they are rotating Fleeve away at the moment. He shouldn't go too far, though, because this execution is definitely coming back through. He instead rotates into jungle, but Torji's missed another shot, and Corey, he has to hold on under balcony. He'll only get one for his trouble as Fleeve falls now as well. APEKS have a way into this A bomb site. Torji wants to deny the plant, but he's missed his third shot of the round now. He has to back away and await his teammates, who are all going to attack from the same angle.
And the smoke dissipates. APEKS has the lineup, and they just shut them down. And look at the money on Budapest 5. And this is what we were talking about. It could be a couple of deagles, but they should definitely be able they should definitely lose this round against APEKS, and they have a way into the game again.
They certainly do. This is a position that they can formidably recover this first half. They're going to at least have 4 rounds on the board, but with their economy in such a positive spot, they're going to have multiple chances to fall by and try and equalize their T side as much as humanly possible. It's quickly out mid now that they've forced their opponents onto an eco. Fleeve gets that info and calls rotations in early. Now, APEKS have yet to commit, so they could quite feasibly still walk up B short and go for the plant on the other side. But for now, it looks as though the Hungarians want to take the close range fights in mid.
Yeah, it is a default coming out from APEKS. It does look like they're heading towards the B site, and even towards A. Palace is getting peeked out by Corey. Doesn't spot anyone, and look at the big stack coming out from Budapest 5. Long range fights. I mean, the Deagle could do a lot of work. They still have one. That's Fleeve chiming in with a great shot. 2 for 2 trade so far. They're tagging the Opper, and Marcelius has to fall back. Luckily, Gruss comes in to try and help out his teammates. The spray whiffs, but eventually he does connect it up. Marcelius gets another kill as well, and the last man standing is Corey. They are decently tagged, but he needs a lot of headshots to make it work, and APEKS are going to secure the next one 4-7. Now, finally, we're going to have a buy round from Budapest 5, though, but it is an oh, no, actually, Coolio did have enough money to drop Forzy.
That could be the difference maker. Unfortunately, he's been a little bit inconsistent from the Budapest 5 in the last few rounds. He had an amazing start to this map, but has tapered off somewhat towards the latter stages of the first half. And that could have been an incredibly expensive round for APEKS. Could have even have been a lost one, and perhaps a lesson in why you really should not be peeking those pistols one at a time. Now, the CT utility is really what's limited in this round. They've got 4 flashes, 2 smokes, and a Molotov left remaining with over 90 seconds left on the clock. It's going to all be on their individual aim to try and hold on. With deep connector control already earned by APEKS, this was Benito's opportunity to wrestle an advantage back for his side. Unfortunately, he's just going to have to stay alive now and wait for this A execute to come through.
It's going to be a quick one towards A. They do have one player in Sandwich, Corey. There's no one coming Palace, so he's actually kind of stuck in a very dangerous position. He will need a little bit of help. Fleeve peeks out wide, but is forced back. They only have 2 flashes on the Budapest 5 side to try and defend this A bomb site. Oh, he just gets spooked by the sound cues, and immediately Budapest 5 have lost the round. Coolio is going to fall back, and Bodito, he needs to try and sneak his way all the way back to safety. Dennis, however, is on the flank, trying to catch out Coolio. He knows Coolio's here.
Coolio seems aware there could be a flank from underpass on the way, though, and it looks as though Dennis should be walking into the B apartments, but he should also have zero idea whatsoever about Coolio's positioning. Obviously going to strafe round on the pre-fire, but it's not enough to convert the kill there. It has given information to his teammates, who are still hunting at the bare minimum, and they really do want to be taking these rifles away, as the Budapest 5 have no money in the bank. It would be of huge economic value to this T side if they could find more work here, but it looks as though the rifles may just escape unscathed in this round, and really that was just due to a lack of utility in the last round from the Budapest 5. When you see kills come through like that in quick succession on the A bomb site, headshot, 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 it's because the CTs have been peaking with no utility, and that's just the T side execution working exactly as it's supposed to.
Yeah, they were completely dry on Budapest 5, and But you just need to have a little bit of luck, because wherever you're going to peek, you're going to be facing either 2 or 3 players of APEKS, and you might be able to get 1 kill, but with the M4 you also have the disadvantage of having to hit 2 shots. Mid, there's going to be a tag fight. At least it's going to be a 2-for-2 trade, and a possibility 3 rifles on the CTs. There's going to be a boost. APEKS versus bo1. It's very close, but Dennis, he's sneaking towards the B site. And catches Dorsey on the rotate as well.
Vital kill for him to find that. Really thrown a spanner into the works of this Budapest 5 defense, and it's cleared out the B bomb site completely. Now, he doesn't have that information. He's going to sneak over to A, and due to the timing of these rotations, he might actually discover a free bomb site. He's going to sit in CT and await rotations, but that unfortunately is not the correct position at the moment, as bo1 has the information, and he nearly has both kills as well. Dinks Marcelius in the back of the head, and that is incredible damage to find onto the T side. Orpa, who still has to get out onto the site and plant, remember. Budapest 5, they've managed to turn this around phenomenally, as Marcelius is in a dire spot, but he's found an all-important shot.
Oh, he knows where the last one's coming from, but Dennis wins that duel. Sprays by, headshot, clean off. APEKS, they're 1 round away from tying the map. And don't forget, this is a best of 1, so it's all on this first map that takes you to either the winners match or the losers.
It's the difference in a whole best of 3 series in your back pocket, a whole safety net. If you head down into that losers match, there are no more chances for you. For the rest of the evening, you face elimination in every matchup. And look at that aggression from APEKS. They trample Korji, who really gets caught out of position. bo1's been able to recover at least temporarily, but he's in serious trouble momentarily. The utility tags him down yet further, but he might just be able to get away.
That smoke buys him some extra time as well, and the players are already on A site, so they need to make sure that the T's need to push connector. Otherwise, APEKS and Gruss might need a little bit of extra help. They're going to peek out wide, and that clears out connector. Fleeve with the op is stuck in jungle. Everything's being smoked off. They have no angle to peek. Only Corey can try and drop the bomb planted. So close. But Gruss saves his teammate's life.
What a hero. That was a very necessary headshot for APEKS in the round, and it might just have made the difference. The plant not denied. Fleeve has to back away with this AWP to try and save it forward, but APEKS, they're on a 7-round streak if you include this one. Of course, they're going hunting. Coolio will get 1 with his M4, but more are arriving, and he will be overwhelmed in the end. As we head into the final round of the first half, it's going to be a limited buy from the Budapest 5, and APEKS, despite being 7-1 down in this half, have the opportunity to end it with an incredible round streak.
Yeah, this is an amazing turn of events, and especially considering they still have to play on the CT side, which normally would be slightly easier for these teams. This is, are they going to be able to secure the last one? Of course, this is a very scrappy buy coming up from Budapest 5, but history tells me anything. It's that these scrappy buys normally manage to take it down, especially with the run and gunning of the SMGs. It could be very problematic to pinpoint them with a very aggressive CT defense.
Well, so far, APEKS are doing a good job at avoiding the majority of them by just completely shying away from the A bomb site. It's a decent nade there onto Gruz, but it is the 2 MP9s who are defending the B site at the moment. Limited firepower and utilizing a boost they've already used once through this map. So APEKS might just be expecting a player on that secret position as they aggress into the B bomb site. These entry kills will be vital for APEKS to find cleanly if they want to continue their streak going. They've found so much map control in the B bomb site before Budapest 5 start fragging, but they do get 2 kills back. That from Gruz is huge. 3 massive AK kills in the B bomb site in the last round of the first half, leaving us in the 3-on-2.
He was on for the ace, but unfortunately gets shut down by bo1, who definitely still has a chance, but he needs to fight an op. Wins that duel against the op. Headshot is what he needs to get against Truth. Flank around him. This is a very close play. Who's it gonna be? Who's gonna be the first one to spot the other out? Truth is gonna hide towards bench. He knows. Oh, he just looked away. You saw the head pop up just behind the bricks, but unfortunately could not secure it. And APEKS somehow win the half. I mean, this is absolutely astonishing that they managed to turn this one complete. It was 7-1. It was full Brazil.
Certainly was, and from the APEKS side of things, it does take them a little while to get going in Mirage, but when they do, they end up with the 1 round advantage despite losing 7 of the first 8 rounds in this map. It's a phenomenal recovery for the T side, and they now head onto the CT side with momentum in their favor, and our betting partners over at LootBet certainly agreeing with that prospect as well. The odds now favoring the APEKS side ever so slightly, and to be honest with you, I sort of agree with them. It really doesn't bode well for the Budapest 5 that they went quiet towards the end of the first half, because now they have initiative. Now they need to be creative and make the plays on their T side when it looked like they just quietened down at the end of the first half.
Another one of those boosts with, the dualies. Marcelli with, I love the dualies. It's not good, but I love him.
We'll have to see how much work gets done with them in the B bomb site, as it's APEKS on the USPs doing the majority. Actually, Marcelius gets nothing done with his 2 pistols at all. And now it's 3 Glocks in the B bomb site. Coolio has now found Truth, and maybe they weren't the right purchase after all.
What a surprise. Yeah, those guns are weird. They're weird, man. I sometimes pick them up as well, and then I start spraying, and I'm like, where do these bullets even go?
Evidently not in the heads of the APEKS players is the answer to your question, as Budapest 5 break the streak in the T-side pistol round and now look to bring SMGs. And is that a shotgun in the hands of Torji? Not what I was expecting to come out from the T-side buy whatsoever. Looks like it might even have been a mistake, as he gets dropped a Mac 10 to farm up more cash for his AWP, and they leave the shotty in the hands of Coolio.
Yeah, that's, I mean, this is what pretty much the most dangerous round out there. You're up against 4 Deagles and a Scout. It's pure hell, especially with the Mac 10s. You got to get close range, so you need to smoke everything off that they can't fight you from long range, because those Deagles are going to tear your head clean off. There's a 4-man CT defense. They got to be very careful here.
Truth spots the player dropping into Firebox, but must not be looking at that corner of his screen, as 2 APEKS players are the first 2 to fall in the round. That scout from Marcelius is doing very little work at the moment, and Dennis's Deagle can't get anything done to an aggressive Torji either. It looks as though the Budapest 5 now are in full control of this round. Gruz in T-spawn nearly runs over for that weapon and then realizes exactly what it is. The shotgun not worth risking his life for, as he backs away into mid. He may still be hunted down as well. Torji's here with the Mac 10, but right now he's missing shots. Eventually does convert, gives Budapest 5 their 9th, and APEKS, they're going to have to take an eco here and really allow that momentum back to their opponents.
Yeah, that's this is a nice couple of rounds for Budapest 5. This should be round number 10, and then it's on to push forward. APEKS, the strats are have been okay, the attempts at least. I mean, they did guess both of the sides correctly, first the B side and then the CT side. So the read on the Budapest 5 plan is correct. This time it's not as correct seeming. Yeah, APEKS, they're gonna rush through B short, and there's 1 man defending the A site, and that's AKES. However, the rotation should be there reasonably quickly. They have, what, 1 Deagle, a P250, and a Flash. And a Dream, of course. Oh, shoot!
He has no idea of the player standing right in front of him in that smoke, and it's the Mac 10s who nearly find all of the kills in that round. So much bonus money for the Budapest 5 as the SMGs find 4 of the 5 kills there and allow double digits the Hungarians' way. Now they have the call of whether or not to go for a bonus round here in round 19. Now Torji is looking at a MAC-10 that he's probably going to shoot into the hands of Coolio, meaning those 3 SMGs are staying alive in this round, and Budapest 5 are going to have a weakened degree of firepower up against the Nords in round 19 as they target the B-bomb site.
Oh, that's some nice aggression coming up from Dennis, but they're rushing towards that B site, and there's only one man standing. Luckily, Gruss does get the kill onto Corey as well. Bodito is standing out in the open. They have absolutely no idea where the CTs are, and they just get annihilated. Budapest 5. Did they even lose any health? No, not a single bullet landed, not a molly tick, nothing. That was that was a little bit greedy.
Definitely think the Budapest 5 thought they could get away with the shock and awe tactic there. Just rush in with the MAC-10s and then make some noise in mid just to delay those rotations. But it started going wrong immediately when the only AK on the side was taken down in top mid. And then the first man out of the B apartments just did not spot Gruz sat underneath him. And he was then able to just deal incredible amounts of damage with that M4 and buy time for yet more CT rotations to arrive. Now, there is pressure applied to the T-side economy as they gave virtually a free gun round over to APEKS there with 5 alive. It was so beautiful for the CT economy that if they can win this upcoming round, they'll be back in the driving seat of this opening map.
Yeah, now it's going to be Budapest 5, it seems, going for a reasonable aggressive mid, but Dennis, he wants to make another play towards ramp. Keep the Budapest 5 side honest. They're playing very aggressive towards ramp. That might actually be a push soon enough. But what is Budapest 5's plan? Are they going to split A or B? I mean, I love a good mid-aggression because it makes the enemy team always second-guess all their choices, especially if you have full control. But it is going to cost you a lot of utility on the T side to flush out every single angle that the CT can possibly hide inside.
Especially in a round like this where APEKS aren't contesting mid at all. So all of this utility that Budapest 5 are using, while they have to take mid control, it's not the most effective. Marcelius opens up with 1 AWP kill on the A site, and Dennis from Sandwich has found the second. Marcelius takes down Bodito as well. Now Glebe is the next to fall, and Torji isolated with that T-side AWP. Can't even find the frag. Truth survives on 8 HP, and APEKS win another consecutive gun round with all of their players surviving. Wonderful news for their economy on the CT side of Mirage as the Budapest 5 going for a desperation buy in round 21.
Yeah, that was a complete shutdown. They didn't have any utility to clear out any of the angles. I mean, they've been playing in... Both teams have been playing inside Sandwich multiple times, and just being able to clear angles with mollies is so much value. At the moment, they have 2 smokes and 3 flashes, and that's all they have. They're going to try and rush towards B, go for the hero play, but the nade does a tremendous amount of damage. Grust as well, look at that. All of them just melting. On the side of Budapest 5, their strats are not paying off. They don't have the utility to execute them. They will finally get their first kill in 3 rounds, but Budapest 5, they're gone. And APEKS, they've got money enough for days.
They really do. They've come alive, certainly on the CT side of Mirage at the moment. And the Budapest 5, their T side really just looks uninspired. They're continually trying to use these explosive plays in which they give away little information at the start of the round, drop limited utility, and then just try and rush straight into a bomb site. The problem is that if the CTs are properly set up and they have the counter utility, they're just going to tear you to pieces, as Marcelius is continuing to do in this round. He's alone on the A bomb site, at least out in the open, as Dennis's AK now arrives to protect him, gets a double in the ramp, and just continues to make a mess of the Budapest 5. They only had the pistols in this round, but they get nothing done whatsoever. It's a clean quad kill on the anti-eco for Dennis, and really the Budapest 5 have to win this gun round, otherwise it's 13-10, and they'd have to go for a deagle buy in the follow-up round where they've really been struggling on the T side.
This is they have, as you said, been very uninspired, and I want to see a full execute coming out from Budapest 5. I want to see everything smoked, mollied, and flashed so that there's no way that Apex can defend the bomb plant. You at least want to have the plant down, but it's going to be an aggressive mid-push coming out from Apex. Jump through from Torzi, but he's going to get caught by Marcelius. A 1-for-1 trade, but Marcelius is too quick on that trigger. 21 and 12 on that Opper. Both Oppers have been shining so far, and yeah, look at the spread on the T's. They have absolutely no idea what hit them and are falling all the way back towards a most likely a default.
Looks to be the case. Bodito just trying to creep up through underpass at the moment, but they really do have to be careful on the Apex side here. They've got aggressive positioning, especially towards ramp. And that could be messed up slightly by Fleeve exiting Palace. Coolio really does have to expect this tight left angle, or he's going to drop the bomb in a really nasty position for his side to recover. Thankfully, he does land the headshot, but that gives away so much information to this Apex T side. They've seen the bomb in T ramp, and Fleeve in Palace gives them all the information they need to run in and start to defend. Gruz is the first man who's arrived on that defense, but the Molotov on Fleeve is enough to stall the attack even further now. The Budapest 5 trying to find their way into this 2-on-2, but now with no more utility remaining.
Yeah, now you're going to have to go for a dry plant. That means you need to kill off Marcelius when you get on side so you can plant it behind the box safely. But do they know where the last two players are? Bomb gets dropped by Coolio. Fleeve is going to push out, however, getting aggressive. Picks up the bomb, but doesn't expect Marcelius that close. Marcelius finishes the round with 3 kills to his name, 13-10, and another one in the bag for Apex.
Excellent work from the Nordic side. They really have started to wake up in the latter stages of Mirage, and the Budapest 5, despite winning the opening pistol and converting the following couple, really it's just been the Apex show ever since round 9. It feels like we had a brief break at the start of the second half, but now we are well and truly resuming here in Act 2 of the Apex show, and they look to continue to dominate. The Budapest 5 are taking a timeout because yes, they can invest, but they're going to have such limited utility, and they've been wrecked consistently running into those bomb sites by that CT utility that it really wouldn't be a great purchase for them in this round. They're still going to go for it by the looks of things. I mean, it just looks like a confused buy. Fleeve might have over-invested as the rest of his side are trying to stay over $2,000. This really doesn't bode well for the side's communication with a mixed buy like this.
Maybe he can make the hero play happen. I mean, Fleeve is the top fragger of the team. It doesn't help that Corey is starting to burn his legs. So starting the round a little bit more wounded and completely wounded. A corpse on a ramp has been dropped. And this would be the perfect round where they'd have to go aggressive towards B. Because now there's only one B defender and no one is even close on the B rotations. But it is going to be Truth peeking out wide.
Ooh.
Gets taken down though by Bodito.
Oh, it's a great opening play from the Budapest 5, but Dennis recovering there might just have made it that much easier now for Apex in the remainder of the round. Torji, if he can get the flank onto Gruz, who's holding B short, that would be absolutely wonderful. But the problem is his teammate Bodito is so likely to be killed before that flank comes through that it really could have little effect in the rest of this half. Torji, what can he do in this 1 versus 3 now? He has to win it out to try and deny the 14-10 scoreline, and he might just get the drop on Gruz here, but with 2 more kills to find and just 35 seconds to work with, it looks as though this is another Apex round.
Well, grabbing the bomb is going to be a problem with Marcelius and that op holding the short angle. He does smoke it off and is going to be able to get a little bit closer, but yeah, Marcelius will not miss that shot because he is absolutely on fire. 24 a kill per round and only 12 deaths, and that after, you know, they were behind 7-1 on the first map, the first half. That's a big recovery coming up from the Opper.
Well, he's been a huge component of this APEKS side. You do have to think as well that when they lost those opening rounds, they were 7-1 down. Marcelius basically never had an AWP in his hand, but as soon as they started to recover their economy and they put that sniper rifle in position, they were so much more readily able to deal with that CT aggression from the Budapest 5 side. And translating onto the CT side as well, they've been so effective of just shutting down any kind of early info play from the Hungarian side. That AWP has been so impactful on Mirage, and going aggressive, it might be yet more so. Instead, it's Gruz who gets taken down by Coolio. Corey finds APEKS now as well. This round, one in which APEKS have been caught out of position, and the Hungarians have a 2-man advantage.
And now it's all on Marcelius on the B side. He's got the op, and he's got to make he needs to make it rain bodies to defend it. But yeah, this is going to be a pretty clean round from Budapest 5. They get all 5 and a nice even spread. So finally they'll be able to win around, and finally they'll make a little bit of bank. But they still need a lot of rounds to tie this series up. It is possible. I mean, this is, of course, the Malta vibes. We have seen our fair share of comebacks and overtimes. Will we get another one to decide who's going to make it to the winners match?
Well, APEKS look as though they really don't want overtime to come through. They've brought the double AWPs out now, and Marcelius, looking to peek into mid, does not get punished, but can't also deal the damage with that smoke timing either. It looks as though APEKS are still committing towards mid. They do want to more actively defend it in this particular round, and we'll have to see whether or not that costs them just yet. They're holding passive positions, and they have had to back off slightly and allow it over to the Budapest 5, but still holding on to Connector and Jungle. They could refrag at any moment. Now that Hungarian utility is being dumped in towards A, but the bomb is yet to make a commitment, and this could be a mid to B strat.
And look at, again, the B defense is pretty weak. APEKS is not going to get cleared out, so will be able to get one back and will fall away. But if they have any utility left, one molly, a flash, they need to make sure that they don't get swarmed while they're planting. And Truth tries to go for it, but it's not going to be successful. Fleeve, he spots out APEKS and shuts him down. Oh, this game might get a lot more interesting with this take from Budapest 5. They have realized probably that B is actually not that well defended most of the rounds by the APEKS squad.
They certainly have been focusing more towards A and mid, and that is something that the Budapest 5 have been able to exploit in this round. Now the gap just at 2 points between these two sides, as APEKS will be able to get guns out in the next round. Dennis has a healthy amount of cash available, assuming he does survive this round. He could drop even 2 M4s if he really wanted to and still buy himself utility, and that's more than enough to make this a comfortable buy for the APEKS side. But even if they secure map point relatively soon, we could still be in overtime territory, as the Budapest 5 need just 2 rounds to tie up the scoreline, and 3 would put them on map point themselves.
Yeah, it's going to be a toughie. The money is nearly gone on APEKS. Only Dennis has some extra in the bank, so this is a must-win for Budapest 5. And again, they're going to go for a very aggressive quick rush towards the B side. They're very close, actually. And they're already out. They might not expect this. Gruz gets annihilated. APEKS with the defense will not win it against Coolio, and that is going to be the B side gone. And immediately APEKS call the save.
They have to keep these rifles alive. Their economy going to be much more dire in that next round. Dennis still has 5k, so he can still drop, but this is 2 back-to-back where Budapest 5 have undercommitted to that B bomb site and just been smashed to pieces by the contact plays. You can really see what the Budapest 5 are trying to work with on this T side here. This is what they were trying to use at the start of the half. Go out quickly, overwhelm the riflers before they're in defensive positions, and then just put yourself in a post-plant position where it's not even worth your opponent's time to even attempt the retake. They really struggled with that strategy at the start of the half, but it's working much better towards the end of their T side, as they need just 1 round victory to tie up the scoreline. They have such a big bank built that they could be safe until the end of regulation.
And I think Apex need to swap one very crucial component, and that's they need to have one player just always playing short. That way he can always hear the steps if they're rushing towards B and then call for the molly toss, for instance. But they didn't expect Apex, they didn't expect Budapest to rush in that quickly, so they didn't have the mollies ready. And as you can see, on towards the B side, they're getting aggressive. 2 men short push, and that means A is now all of a sudden very empty. So if they hurry up with this execute, they could completely crush the A defense.
Well, the utility is pouring out in this A site. It's Truth and Dennis who have to defend and buy time for the rotations, but Truth has to retreat from the Molotov, and he gets caught out while attempting to do so. Dennis yet to ring off shots means he's yet to be peaked even before swinging around. He's going to get Corey at the very minimum and looks for a second now as well. They push into him and eventually clear him away, but it's still a 3-on-3 retake as the plant has not yet been denied. 2 M4s and an AWP to try and come back in, as this time it's Badito who's found in the flames. He gets Marcelius before falling and leaves it now in the 2-on-2. Arquez tapping that bomb, desperate to make it work, but Torgi on the AWP does not have the lineup in the smoke. Arquez, the IGL for Apex, perhaps saving it at the last possible second.
Actually getting the ninja defuse in, pros don't fake, and I mean the bomb ticked in a completely different position, and it's always not nasty to try and get those sticks through the smoke, but a very crucial save from APEKS to make sure that they'll get at least overtime if the next 2 rounds go wrong.
They still have a poor buy in the round. They only managed to scrape through on survival, and this time it's very heavy mid commitment from the APEKS side and then falling back into a B stack. That is totally the wrong call in what could be the last round for them of this map. Their economy is going to be smashed if they don't win this one out. As the utility pours in, they know they've misread the situation. They know it's going to have to be the A bomb site, and Marcelius is desperate, praying for a kill through the smoke to allow his team an early advantage, but it's Fleeve who's found it instead. APEKS falling, the hero of rounds prior, and Apex, they could really be arguing just to save at this point in time. Their economy would be wrecked if they failed this retake, and I think that's the call they have to make. They have to allow Budapest 5-14 and fight for victory in regulation. This one is going all the way.
Yeah, this is an absolute banger of a match. It's, I mean, I honestly have no idea who's going to win this. APEKS, they need Budapest 5 to make another mistake. Like the first couple of rounds, they need to make them lose their flow. They're really aggressive right now, but in the beginning, they managed to shut down that aggression. Torzi catches Marcelius, but that mainly, oh my God, Torzi with a second. Dropping that op, and Marcelius is now with an op, without an op in the most crucial round of the game.
That's so much impact there from Torgi. That really could be the difference between overtime and an APEKS victory. They've taken 2 critical rifles away from the CT side at the most important time in this match. APEKS have to drop down onto 2 MP9s and a pistol to defend this round. It's going to be another A site attack from the Budapest 5. They dump utility into mid to feign commitment and then hold to drop smokes into the A bomb site. They decide to go quickly and attempt to force us to overtime with the contact plays. Truth close. It's Dennis though who finds the first kill with the MP9, and the kills, they go in the Nord's favor. 3 openers found by APEKS as they shut the Budapest 5 out of the A bomb site and leave Fleeve and Torgi to recover against 4.
Yeah, it was the close range SMGs. They just completely tore their faces off. 2 players, one playing on top of plateau, one below, and a player from a distance just spraying at everyone that even peeked around the angle. They got the kills that they required, and now it's all on Torzi and Fleeve. Torzi with the op. Fleeve is actually crawling his way into the A site, getting right behind Truth. This could be crucial. This is the first shot, but luckily enough, Marcelius is still somewhere to be found. Is going to jump down, flank from ramp. They're going to get the bomb plant in. Will they expect the player from ramp?
In a way, I think this could have worked out for the Apex side. They've won that gunfight now, and instead of being tempted into two 1v1s in the A bomb site, they can focus on the 3-on-2. Torji finds Marcelius, and now with an AWP in hand, he has to find two players aggressing from CT, one of whom is on just 10 HP, but he's crept around the right side of the box. This is overtime, ladies and gentlemen. Unless Torji whiffs these shots onto Gruss, he's done enough to force us into overtime. Ladies and gentlemen, a quad kill from the Hungarian AWPer is taking us to extended time in the opening match of this Malta Vibes Cup.
How does he I mean, this is just perfect. Crawls his way towards the side. They still think that he's playing the ramp, even though that doesn't really make sense with the way the bomb is planted, but especially the one with the most HP going for the bomb defuse, and he just taps him in the head. Finish the last one off afterwards, and this is just I mean, OT. We said it, we expected it, and we're gonna get it.
Well, 19 now the magic number for either side to try and target, as it is the mirrored scoreline 8-7 apiece. And not only 8-7 apiece either, but 8-7 in a very similar fashion, where Apex started out completely dominant, but it seems to be almost a curse of sides in Malta Vibes. As soon as they hit 14 rounds, that just seems it. They start to lose momentum. They start to get trapped in their own heads. It seems like they worry too much about what their opponents are going to do and then throw the leads away. I've seen it happen time and time again in these cups so far. Closing out matches is clearly not the strong suit of teams at this level.
Yeah, this was definitely a round that Apex needed to finish. This was 100% a round that they needed to finish. I mean, with the positioning that they had, how they went for a two-man stack towards B in the last round, even though they could have just, you know, played together. And no one was holding connector, no one was holding any of the crucial areas. There was just one player push palace, the other one was peeking ramp, and they had no idea where the second player was of Budapest 5.
Just a really nightmarish situation to be in at the end. They're losing out on such a vital clutch in the very last possible moments is going to be hugely mentally damaging for your side, but a huge mental boost to the side of your opponents. The Budapest 5 are absolutely screaming in the server that they have an opportunity to make it through the upper bracket at the moment, and we mentioned it at the start of the map. It was going to be the battle of the AWPers between these two sides. And check out the scoreboards. Torji and Marcelius both on 26 kills. The only difference between those two players is that Torji has an extra death.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. The AWPers, the star players, so to say, of the two teams, just trying to... They both carried their team completely this game, and it's gonna be a blast because this is 16k OT, so that means they're gonna have ops every possible round, and that's gonna be always great to see, because it's a little bit sad that a team keeps on forcing up and missing out on that crucial op for their main guy.
Well, now our partners over at LootBet seem to think this one has equalized substantially. They still are narrowly edging it out in the favor of Apex, but those odds are much more balanced than they once were. This time, the Budapest 5 falling back more onto their default styles, and this is where you're really going to see the CT sides get far more creative. Now that they don't have their own economy to worry about, you can expect to see much more aggressive plays from AWPs. And indeed, Marcelius is keeping that theme alive by posting himself up at close range in the B apartments.
This Truth actually already dropped all of his utility at the start of the round. Nice snap from Marcelius taking down Coolio, gives the advantage to Apex. And that aggressive smoke towards Apps means it's going to take a while before... Oh, they spotted each other out. Marcelius a little bit slow on that trigger. Bodito gets a double. Now the rotations are going to be completely cut off. But where are they actually going to strike? That is the question. How are they going to handle this? Corey, close range Gruss. Russ wins that duel, and it's going to be a 3-on-3 so far. It's going to be a B attempt. Coming through Fleeve with the bomb in Palace, but because of that molly drop towards a short, the peak can't come through from Torzi, and it's going to be interesting. Dennis actually kills off Torzi all the way from A, and they need to hold this B push. The last man standing, Fleeve, going to get anything done? No. Gruss with a huge 3K to make sure that they take the first round of OT.
Great work from the Norwegian rifle, and now topping the scoreboard on his team, him and Marsalius having a bit of friendly competition at the moment to see who can have the first kills at the end of this opening map. APEKS with the 1-round advantage. Head forward still with the single AWP. As Budapest 5, they don't adjust much with this T-side default. They're still going for some mid-commitment. They're still putting some presence in the B apartments, and still it's APEKS who get the opening kills this time. Marsalius again ringing out with those impactful opening AWP kills and putting Budapest 5 on the back foot immediately.
And also a decent amount of damage dealt to Bodito. They've got Budapest 5 are too afraid to take the mid area right now, and they're all around jungle for APEKS right now. Dennis playing close angles. This could be pretty massive. It's going to be Marsalius peeking into Torzi. Oh, he just spots him out. Is going to peek out wide.
Oh, lands the second shot as well onto Dennis. That is absolutely massive, as now the rotations have been baited all the way into this A bomb site, and Truth might just suspect there could be a mid contingent to this attack.
That is absolutely... That he got this Dennis as well. I did not expect him. I had a feeling that he had absolutely no clue that Dennis was even close. Truth in the connector gets a 1 and done. They're going to go for the A site. It's going to be APEKS trying to hold them off from the push. Does have one smoke to make sure that he could possibly push in a little bit further. It's going to be a bomb plan for Bodito. 1 bullet.
Oh,
how does he not fall?
How unfortunate for the APEKS side. They can't deny the plant, but Arquez has at least found the kill in the late instance, and that leaves Gruz now in a one-on-one, actually. As Torji's ult rings out, he now knows the position he has to worry about and is deploying utility to try and buy himself room to maneuver, but Torji is reading this absolutely perfectly at the moment, not giving an inch until his opponent peeks out, but he misses a vital shot, lets his opponent stick the bomb right now as Gruz keeps holding on. Torji, he's lost control of the 1v1. How on earth has he done that? His opponent just sticks the bomb, and Torji shoulder peeking, just can't even see it.
Pros don't fake, is what they say. I mean, he even had a molly, which he could have possibly tossed on the bomb. Yes, it would have been pretty much his own suicide. But there were, you know, he thought that he got him off the bomb, but wow, that is a ballsy play to just hold down that defuse. And with that, APEKS get the second round of OT. That is absolutely insane, especially with how much work Torzi has been putting in so far. APEKS snaps down Fleeve, and that is another advantage to start off the OT round for APEKS. The flash is Gruz completely blinded. No one peeks out the truck, and they just spray him down. All 3 OT rounds going for APEKS.
That is certainly not what we expected. The Budapest 5 slowed down substantially in those first 2 rounds, actually. And despite it coming down to a 1v1 in the second, they couldn't do anything against that APEKS defensive half. Gruz has been so good in the later stages of this map, especially on this B bomb site, just anchoring like an absolute hero and giving his team 3 chances now to win the single round necessary to claim victory in this map. But they are up against a strategy they themselves wouldn't want to consider in overtime. It's the double AWPs brought out by the CT side, and APEKS hadn't had to deal with that on too many occasions so far.
Yeah, this is a very aggressive positioning coming out from Corey. They do have a decent B defense on Budapest 5, but they got to be careful because they can get flushed out very quickly here, especially with their close angles that they're playing. And they are expecting them to be in close angles, standing on top of each other, spraying them on top of the ladder. Both CTs chime in for a kill. Russ needs a little bit of help. CT player did not get smoked off. And with that, it's going to be a 3-on-2 retake from the CTs. APEKS is completely flashed off. He's trying to fight up against Coolio, but Dorsey does spot him out. Should give away the intel. Coolio is completely blinded. Bomb's going to get planted. Ooh. And leave through the box headshot. Beautiful. They know where APEKS is. He has to peek wide into 2 ops. He's never going to win that duel.
Unfortunate for the APEKS captain. He can't hold on to the clutch, but the Budapest 5 stay alive. The double snipers, they make it work, and really it was that shot from Fleeve through the box, isolating the 1-on-2 engagement for his team, and perhaps doing enough work now to build momentum for the CT side. Still 2 more chances for APEKS to close this out in the first overtime, but the 2 orbs are going to be alive throughout this CT half now that they've survived the opening round, and APEKS are going to have to use a different strategy in this one.
Yeah, they're going to go aggressive towards mid. I mean, you do need to have aggression, but they're just getting completely shredded from multiple angles. 2 down already. Luckily, money doesn't matter in OT, but it is still pretty painful to lose 2 rounds. So they better try and step this up, because their utility is actually almost gone. They've got 1 molly, 1 nade, 1 flash, and 1 smoke.
It is the CT side reigning supreme at the moment, it feels, as the utility left over from APEKS. It's really not enough to work with now. They've got to make their way into the A bomb site. They don't even have enough smokes to commit to a plant here, let alone hold for the retake. But of course, in 16k overtime, you just have to go for it. There is literally no reason not to. Torji on the close angle, or at least from CT, he's going to be the point of first contact. Completely blind, he lands that shot, and this looks like another round for the Hungarians. The CTs really are completely shutting down. Like, both these sides not really having the most creative plans of attack. Just try to rush something out, hope that the enemies are unaware of your positioning, and, well, Marcelius does have the bomb, and he does have a free B site. He might be able to get a plant, but with these Hungarian players running in ever so quickly, he's lucky to even be alive at this point. With 10 seconds left, there are players all around him, and he knows it. He will get at least 1 kill, but Vedito can clean it up with the M4A4 and bring the Budapest 5 within 1 round, now forcing us into double overtime. APEKS now desperate to end things here in OT1. They call now a timeout on the T side to try and figure out their strategies, but there's a serious kill disparity on the T side at the moment. They've got 2 players over 30 and 2 under 20.
Yeah, this there's a real carry coming in. I mean, Truth and Corey are both really struggling behind. Coolio is like okay-ish. He's almost evened out his score, but Marcelius, Gruss, Dorsey, and Fleeve, all 4 of them really trying their best to carry their team. They're popping off multiple round wins for those players alone. But who is going to reign supreme? Is this going to be another OT, or are we going to be able to see APEKS go on to the next round in the winners? Well, I want to say bracket always, but it's not a bracket. Just a winner's match.
It might as well be the smallest of brackets you can possibly get. Marcelius, I think he only has a Tech 9 in this round. Why on earth? That makes no sense. He has enough money himself for a real weapon here. I'm totally confused in this. I can only assume that he forgot to buy in time, and this play is just predicated on him going quickly out into middle. He's going to run back to base now and potentially recover a gun. There's his AWP. I don't know why on earth that was left all the way in spawn. Perhaps a little bit of an early mistake, but I was seriously confused there.
I mean, I've seen multiple plays. I've seen Chris J do that recently, last month as well, where he played with a P250 when he had like 7k extra in OT. I was like, what?
Definitely confusing. from the AWPers. And, you know, high-pressure situations like this, they really can lead mistakes like that to be made, and APEKS can't afford any more mistakes to be made in this round. Gruss has gotten so aggressive. He's in such a good spot at the moment, but APEKS need to be able to convert this into a bomb plant here. Otherwise, if they lose 1 or 2 players before putting the bomb down, it's going to be an easy retake from the Budapest 5.
Well, Gruss does get rid of Fleeve. They plant the bomb nicely, but Corey was still hiding on the site. That sneaky little angle that he's played before. However, the bomb is down. They've got connector control. Truth is still playing in. They don't know where the last player is. They don't know where Dennis is because he hasn't made a shot just yet. Now he's gonna... Oh, yeah, he has the full bomb angle as well. Cleans up Coolio. Will this be the last round? It's getting pretty close. 2-on-2. Molly has been dropped. They have no smoke left on the CTs. It's going to be Gruss. Shutting down Torzy.
He's at the same angle. He's done it, Gruss. That is a heroic play there from APEKS. They bait Dennis out to full effect.